Andrea, you want me to go ahead and go?
Yes, you got about 47 people, 48 people. They're coming in quickly.
Okay.
Can you see the participants?
Let me put it on. I can now. Yes. Yes. All right. All right.
You can start anytime. We're
All
live.
right. Well, I'm going to kick things off here this morning with our invocation. Thank you for everyone for making time to be a part of this this morning. I hope everyone's doing well. Let's just bow for a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we just pause this morning to say thank you for all your many blessings. And we just lift before you our hearts and minds. During this time, we know that you've reminded us the difference between being in control and being in charge, and seeing that while we control very little, that you are ultimately in control of everything, and that we know that you can take all things and turn them to the good for those that love you. What we can be in charge of or take opportunities with is to be in charge of our responses to these situations. Help us to take charge of our attitudes, that we show love one to another, take charge of our resources that you've entrusted to us, that we can have as broad an impact as possible, and to take charge of our community so that we can support one another. Thank you again for another beautiful day, and we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Morehouse. Welcome everyone to our first virtual Fourth Friday hosted by Spectrum Reach. My name is Jeff Hosteller. I'm with Eastman Credit Union. I will be your MC for today. You guys are part of history. This is the first time that we've ever had anything like this in the 10 plus years that we've had Fourth Friday. We are certainly all aware of the uncertain times that we're going through. We're hosting the virtual Fourth Friday to practice social distancing and, of course, the best interest for our community. We, of course, postponed the last two Fourth Fridays, and we decided that having a virtual meeting was in the best interest of everyone. We all certainly know that probably Bob Figgins is sitting at his house in his Emery and Henry pajamas. That is a quick thought that we all like to pluck out of our brains, but I wanted to go ahead and give that to everyone. Before we actually get started, I want to make sure and let everyone know that the Kingsport Chamber has been very active, has been the support partner of the business community, certainly from day one. They didn't skip a beat, certainly once this had all hit. If you guys had paid attention to some of the events that the Kingsport Chamber had done, and this is just in the events alone, it was virtual environment communication, leadership under uncertainty, crisis management essentials, leading change, and yes, even Bob was working. I don't know on what, but they told me that he was, so I just have to go along with that. But I want you to know that the Kingsport Chamber is certainly working hard for you. If you have any questions or concerns or guidance that you're looking for as a business owner or business partner, please reach out. They have a wealth of information, and I believe that the expertise that awaits you, you will certainly not believe. So we're certainly all hoping and praying that we'll get back to normal very soon as possible. So we certainly thank you for joining us this morning. This month's sponsor, as I mentioned, is Spectrum Reach. As a dedicated partners of the community, they are very committed to helping the business of all sizes grow through multi-platform, affordable advertising solutions that reach your target audience across all screens. Spectrum Reach provides excellent service by listening to and caring for those that they serve. We certainly appreciate your sponsorship this morning, and we look forward to hearing from you in just a few minutes. Now that Dr. Morehouse has certainly given us our invocation, I'm going to go right into our program sponsor. We'd like to introduce our sponsor, Spectrum Reach, which offers the promotional solutions through national cable networks, internet advertising, mobile marketing, and events supported by marketing research and creative service teams. First, we will hear from Colby Frost, Manager of Advanced Advertising, and then we will hear from Brett Herron, Manager of Regional Production. So Colby, you are up.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for the kind introduction. I greatly appreciate it. And first off, I want to thank the Kingsport Chamber for extending the invitation to Spectrum Reach in order to sponsor the Fourth Friday breakfast, this time virtually. I hate that we can't all be together under one roof, but hopefully that will be a reality very soon when things start to calm down. But until then, a Zoom meeting will have to suffice. As Jeff said, my name is Colby Frost. I'm the Advanced Advertising Sales Manager for Spectrum Reach here in the Tri-Cities market. And if I can change the slide. I apologize. Again, I'm Colby Frost. I'm the Advanced Advertising Sales Manager for Spectrum Reach here in the Tri-Cities market. And today what I wanted to bring to you was probably one of the most buzzworthy topics happening right now within the media and advertising industry, and that is over-the-top advertising, or as it's coined or termed, OTT. But before I get into that, I would like to share a little bit more information behind who Spectrum Reach is, in case you are unfamiliar with our organization. So Spectrum Reach is the advertising division of Spectrum Cable or Charter Communications. And our mission is to help local and national businesses and advertisers grow their brand recognition and awareness through three primary sources, those being television, online, as well as streaming video, or as we call it for today's purpose, OTT. I apologize, it's not letting me change the slide. Some takeaways today that I hope you're able to leave with is really understanding how OTT has revolutionized not only the advertising industry and landscape, but the video landscape specifically, as well as the growth of connected audiences. We know that this landscape has changed and increased drastically over the past few years, and it's continuing to increase. So understanding that. And at the very last, create an effective marketing strategy around the big screen campaigns or the big TV screen and OTT industry. So I really like to lead with this visual right here because this is a perfect representation of what the modern day living room looks like. And this may seem familiar to a lot of you as it does for millions of households across the United States. As you see, you have somebody sitting on the couch watching College Game Day on their big screen, on their smart TV. But I want you to take notice as to what's actually not around that television screen. And that is, you don't see any cables or cords, wires, stuffed in or around the television. You don't even see a box, maybe even stuffed in a cabinet. It's very clean. In fact, we know that the smart TV or the big screen is a device of choice when it comes to consuming your favorite content. So a study conducted by GfK actually asked the respondents, what is your definition of TV? What does that mean to you? And 38% of those folks define TV traditionally. For example, in the way that how they consume their favorite content is on the big screen within the home, and that's the only time they watch TV. But 62% of those folks said that it's not just traditional anymore. It's any content that I can watch anywhere on any device at any time. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. This past weekend on Sunday, for all you sports fans out there, there was a big live event that shattered records as far as viewership goes on Sunday. I found myself at the lake, and before I go into that, I'm a golf enthusiast. I love to play golf. I'm not very good at it, but I love to play. And the event that I'm referring to is the match between Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, and of course Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Well, I was on the lake, and I almost forgot about the match, and I had a notification on my phone. Well, nowadays, you can actually bring the living room or the bedroom into your life wherever you're at. You can bring that content to you, and that's exactly what I did. So I opened up my Spectrum TV app. I went straight into the network, and I started streaming a lot of the live coverage of the match. So to say my point is that I fall within that 62% range. And here in just a moment, you will see how many other people also define TV as consuming content anywhere on any device at any time. There we go. Okay. So why should you care? It's a high likelihood that if you're sitting here watching this Zoom webinar, you're either a business owner or you are a representative of a business or organization within the area. So putting on your marketing and advertising hat for a second, let's think about, you have to grow your business, increase your customer list, as well as retain those customers. So with that in mind, when you consider marketing and advertising, why should you even care about OTT? And I have a few points here that I'm going to highlight. Number one being the average U.S. household today has 11 connected devices within the home. So if you step back and think about that, that's a lot of opportunity. I started thinking about this myself, and I was like, I may have only 1 or 2 connected devices in my home. Well, I started counting, and I have 5 just by myself. I have a phone and a laptop. I've got my Xbox in my living room, as well as a smart TV in the living room, plus a smart TV upstairs. So that's just me, and I'm a one-person household. So the reason I say that is because those screens and those devices are your opportunity to reach those folks on all screens. Secondly, the number of OTT viewers in 2020 is expected to peak at 222 million viewers. And that figure is actually supposed to soar to over 229 million by 2022, or represent 68% of the population. So my point is that this landscape is not a fad. It truly is, it's mainstream to people. This is how they choose to watch their content. And finally, the total digital video ad spend in 2020 is expected to peak at $40.2 billion. So it's no hoax that people are investing money here just to invest it. It's because there's a huge audience as well as a captive audience that we need to be capitalizing on. So I know you've heard me ramble for a minute, and you're probably thinking, well, I hope this guy gets to his point really quickly. But what is OTT? Let me define that for you. So at its core, OTT is defined as film or television content that is consumed via a high-speed internet connection rather than a set-top box or a cable box. So it's a catch-all term. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but it can define the content, the service, or the device. And let me break that down simply. So on one hand, you have OTT services, which are the websites or apps that have the content. For example, Hulu or Netflix, maybe even the Spectrum TV app, they have the best content that you want to watch. On the other hand, you have pieces of hardware like an Xbox or a PlayStation or a smart TV that allow you to connect to the internet in order to watch your favorite content. So you have to have both of these components in order to watch the content. Oh. So how do we create an effective OTT strategy in this landscape, knowing that it has changed so much? First, we have to understand who's actually a digital video viewer, who's a streamer. And let me state this first. It's the biggest misconception that streaming is only for young people or millennials. That's truly not the case. As you see here represented in this visual, adults 35 to 44 make up the largest sector of streamers or digital video viewers, representing 41.7 million people in 2019. And on top of that, adults 35 plus represent 119 plus million digital video viewers. So again, referring to my previous statement, this landscape is mainstream. People are choosing to view their favorite content in the streaming landscape. So dovetailing off of that, who are you actually trying to reach here? For example, we need to be having better conversations around who we're trying to reach rather than just buying a traditional demographic, meaning I want to buy an audience that is adults 25 to 54. Well, we need to know more than that. The days of that are starting to be long gone. We need to understand more about them. Are they empty nesters that are retired or about to retire? Are they families with children or young couples or college students, maybe even a sports fan like myself? We need to make sure that we put your brand's message within the content that your audience watches, because each of these audience segments here watch different content. So if you're not putting it in the right place, your marketing dollars are more than likely going to be more inefficient than they should be. Okay, so lastly, the keys to an effective OTT strategy. Number one, we have to define your audience, meaning at the very base minimum, we need to understand the demographic we're trying to target. So maybe you want to target adults 25 to 54. Okay, let's layer in qualitative data like high household income. Maybe you're trying to sell a big ticket item, you need people with higher household income. Or automotive speaking, are they in the market for a new vehicle? Are they a truck intender? What is it? Maybe they're in the market for a new home to buy. We need to understand so we can build that pure audience and then deliver to it. Breaking that down even further, geography, that plays a huge part into who we target as well, right? We want to make sure your marketing dollars are invested in a way that they are spent efficiently and not wasted outside in an area that doesn't make sense to your business. Secondly, choose your content and choose it wisely. Things that we pride ourselves on here at Spectrum is, number one, safeguarding you from fraud in a digital environment. We're delivering to 100% authenticated audiences on video on demand or live TV all of the time. Beyond that, make sure your partner that you deal with actually has the reach and scale of inventory to reach your audience. Thirdly, plan with the big screen in mind. And the reason I say that, I referred to it earlier, but the big screen we know is 84% of media consumption is consumed behind the big screen. So focus your marketing strategy around the big screen first, and then we can focus on the smaller screens like your phones and your tablets and that sort of thing. And then lastly, harness data capabilities. This is really one of the most important pieces because data fuels the campaign, or it should. So make sure your partner is analyzing viewership data and device usage trends so that you are able to align your message again with the right content that your audience is watching, again, to make sure that you are putting together the best strategy to reach your audience and grow your business. Again, I would like to thank you all so much for your time that you spent with me this morning. Sorry I advanced too far. I thought I had another slide. But thank you again, Kingsport Chamber, for this opportunity. I greatly appreciate it. If you all have any questions, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, connect, or shoot me a quick email. I appreciate your time. I'm going to pass this over to my friend and colleague, Brent Herron, who's our Regional Production Manager for Colonel, which is a creative service within Spectrum Reach. Thank you.
Thank you, Colby. I'm going to request remote control here so that hopefully be able to move the slides forward. Okay, there we go. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brent Herron. I am the Regional Production Manager for Colonel. Colonel is the creative agency within Spectrum Reach. And I appreciate the Chamber allowing us to be part of this morning as well, as Colby's already said. Oh, wrong way. So, how's everybody doing? Are you feeling anxious? So's everybody else out there. There isn't any business sector that hasn't been impacted by this recent state of viral affairs. And it's a different kind of anxiety as well. Alan Hobson with the Trampoline Group is a changeologist. And what a changeologist does is help companies of all sizes go through transitions. Alan says this anxiety is different for two reasons. There is no plan that is leading us up to a greater good, and it's affecting everything about life as we know it. So people are in uncertain landscapes. They have problems that they didn't have before. So people still expect to see advertising, and there's a lot of television watching going on. But they now expect commercials to bring value to their lives by picking a problem that they have and solving it. Now more than ever, you need to be thinking about campaigns and not commercials, because you need an overarching message plan so that your spots mirror the particular phase of rebuilding that your market is in, wherever the market is in their journey to the new normal. At first, your message is going to be reactive, dealing with what changed about your business that people needed to know. As the market starts to open, your message needs to build confidence in solutions you've put in place until eventually you evolve to whatever your new normal is going to be, when you can have messaging that has nothing to do with the changes and you're safe to go back to brand and seasonal specials and regular offers. Also, you need to have a trigger offer in place early in this, and the tone should drop back and talk to the audience that is going to be rattled by what they perceive as a setback. Hopefully this is a spot that you will never have to use, but it will be good to already have that in place just in case we have to go back. Get it to advance here. Oh. So there's a lot of talk these days about convergence, how TV's everywhere and a screen is a screen. But know what the one common element is in all of this. Whether it's a laptop, a big screen, a cell phone, or a tablet, its video is the common element. So, and this is why you remember 20% of what you hear, 30% of what you see, but you remember 70% of what you see and hear. The combination of audio and visual cues and video delivers the most amount of information in the least amount of time with the highest recall. So video is the best vehicle for more than just commercials. When creating engaging videos, there's three essential things that we want to put into place when working on video. Quality production value. No matter what we're doing in that space, we want to make sure the value and the quality of the production is very high. Secondly, creative that resonates with the client. And lastly, making sure that video is created for the platform that it's going to be shown on. Let's talk about the importance of production quality with some stats that indicate publishing a low quality video is actually worse than not publishing a video at all. A PQV is a poor quality video, and 62% of people have a negative perception of your brand after watching one. 60% no longer want to engage with your brand, and 23% would hesitate to buy after being subjected to a PQV. Let's try and make it go. And go back. So when making creative, you want it to be memorable. Your mom was right. You only get one chance to make a first impression. So how do you want your brand to introduce itself? Cross the room, shake their hand, make them feel seen, break through the clutter, and how do you not become white noise? According to VentureBeat.com, Google serves almost 30 million ads a day, and the average consumer sees 5,000 ads every day. Your creative has to get noticed before it can be remembered. Finally, the quality of your ad reflects on the quality of your brand. So if you don't care enough about using the right voiceover talent, what other corners are we cutting? Tell the story your customers want to hear, not the one you want to tell. Start with the consumer in mind. Who are they? What problems do they have? And how are you going to solve it? Find the connection point between those insights and your brand, then start crafting a story. When a husband asks a wife what she wants for dinner, no one answers something family owned or operated. Next, be conscious of ad fatigue. Ad fatigue is a real thing. Fact is, commercials wear out over time. Some things to think about when it comes to ad fatigue. The more often an ad appears, the faster it will wear out. The more information-based an ad is, the faster it will wear out. Think of it this way. You will watch an episode of your favorite TV show over and over again, but you won't watch a newscast more than once. People enjoy stories, even ones that have already been heard. For TV, you should refresh your creative around every 12 weeks. A good rule of thumb is that a commercial that sits on the shelf for 12 weeks, you can run it again with new life. The more frequently you use the same commercial, the longer it will need to sit on the shelf to run again. Lastly, be creative. Of course, videos must be creative to break through the clutter. Saying be creative is a little like saying be funny. It's not something that just comes naturally, and it takes time. But we are here to help, and we look forward to having the opportunity to partner with you in the future. I'll turn my camera back on so that you can see me now, but thank you again to the Chamber for allowing Colby and us both to speak today on behalf of Spectrum Reach and Colonel, and we look forward to any questions. You can reach out to both Colby and I on any of these subjects that we've talked about, and I will pass it back over now. Thank you again.
Let's try this once again. Thank you, Colby and Brent. Now I'd like to please welcome Charlie Nitschke, the chair of the Mayor's Count on Neighbors Census Community. Charlie?
Thanks very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's always a pleasure to talk about the census effort that we have underway at the present time. We have a committee of about 20 people appointed by Mayors Shaw and Venable that's been working almost a year to get the word out on the census. And Nora, if I may go to the next slide. The question is a complete count for Sullivan County and Kingsport possible? A complete count is approaching 100% respondents. And we feel as a team that absolutely, but it requires a team effort. And that's why we're pleased to have the opportunity to come this morning and invite you into that team effort. Nora, next slide, please. If we go back and look at 2010 of the census effort, only 83% of the people responded in Sullivan County to the census. So we left out over 26,000 people. And doing the math, if you look at the next two lines, each respondent was worth about almost $1,100, $1,100 a year. So if you take that 26,000, $1,100 over a 10-year period, that means that Sullivan County lost a potential $290 million in revenue from the federal government supporting different programs. Nora, next slide, please. So I want to ask, why is the census so important? Well, that's one obvious reason. But first of all, it's our civic duty. Second of all, it gives our government, as we know, a chance to get a better handle on the size of our country. But if you look at the lower part of the slide, specifically, the data from the census used for determining things like our road structure, building new roads, school support, healthcare support, supporting of nonprofits, you name it. All of these things are so important to everybody in our community. So we need help always in getting that word out. I'm sorry, I have myself muted. You saw some of my slides, and I'm not going to go over them, but let me list why is a census so important. Let me reiterate some of the points that you read there. Responding to the census is our civic duty, and we must be cognizant of it. It gives us the opportunity to count the number of people in the country, but it also allows that census data flowing to the government to determine the kind of money coming back to us, which supports things like funding for roads and structures, schools, healthcare, nonprofits especially, and underprivileged people as far as housing support is concerned. So it also helps us determine how many seats we have in our state and our federal government as far as representation is concerned. Nora, next slide, please. So I'm going to close with just an appeal to you folks as an extension of our committee itself, the committee which is comprised of 20 some odd people. And we ask, how can we help, we members of the Chambers of Commerce? We ask you to share the census information that we can provide with the audience that you have available. I think our friends from Spectrum just talked about the wide audience, but on a lower level, talking about our family, friends, and neighbors, the employees that we deal with, our colleagues, clients that you have, so important, and community circles, even our churches where you can give temple talks as an example. So if we go to the next slide, Nora, your support is crucial. We can supply you, we the committee can supply you with the media support you need, either digital or printed flyers, promotional material in all forms. So we would ask if you have an interest in reaching out to us and helping us support the promotion of the census, that you call either me, the number listed there, or Adrian Becerra, the marketing and public relations director for the city. In closing, let me just say this with these youngsters here. Remember to count us. Remember to count us in. So in every household, not only the adults, but every youngster, regardless of age, needs to be counted. And we can only accomplish that through support from folks like you. So I appreciate the opportunity. Muting problem. And with that, I'm going to close. And if there's any questions or comments, I would appreciate that. But if not, I certainly thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Charlie. Now we would like to invite to speak our city manager, Mr. Chris McCart, with the city update. Chris?
Thanks, Jeff. I've got 2 minutes, so I'm going to run through 3 things here real quickly. First, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen is scheduled to vote on first reading on Tuesday, the fiscal year 21 budget. You've probably read in the Kingsport Times News that this is a very conservative budget that we have put forward. We're trying to really take the conservative path and understand, or get a better understanding, I should say, as each and every month unfolds into the new fiscal year, as just exactly what the economy is going to do. March numbers were very promising. We're hopeful that April numbers will as well. And as all of us, we hope the economy rebounds very, very quickly. In addition to that, we're not borrowing any money in this fiscal year, this upcoming fiscal year. This will be a first in many, many years for the city of Kingsport. But we are really looking at how we have a tremendous amount of capital already in the pipeline that we're presently managing. In fact, as we move into fiscal year 20, we will be managing well over $20 million in capital for a variety of projects, from infrastructure to parks, as well as ongoing work to many of our facilities. And so we felt, in kind of continuing that conservative theme, to kind of stick with that approach and not borrow any money, work through what we have and continue moving forward. There's no tax increase, there's no rate increase. And so we believe it's a good budget for us and one that will allow us to continue to do a lot of things, but also kind of with that conservative approach as we watch and see how things kind of reopen across our city and across the state and the country. Speaking of reopening, you can go to our website, kingsporttn.gov. You can click there on the main page about COVID-19 and our reopening plans. We are starting to reopen a lot of the facilities that we've had to close over the last few months. Most recently, the farmers market has reopened. Our playgrounds have reopened. Portions of the aquatic center are now open, and more will be reopening as we move into next month. So if you haven't had a chance to check out that website, please do. And please continue to be patient with us as we get these facilities back open. We're doing the best we can, and at the same time making sure that we're considering everyone's public health as well as the public health of our employees. Last, I'll kind of talk a little bit about what's on the horizon. I talked a lot about in the budget to the board, a lot of the capital projects that we have coming forward. A lot of work to our parks, that will be a big thing. A lot of work to our infrastructure. But we will also be taking a look at the former General Shell property, what we now refer to as the Brickyard property. You've probably seen the work that's taking place up there regarding the Miracle Field, but the board will also be hearing in June, I think, some really exciting plans for what we are recommending for the redevelopment of that property. There was over 112 acres, I believe, that's on that site. And so we're very excited about what that will look like. Additionally, Main Street continues to move forward with the redevelopment of that street. Very excited about what that will ultimately look like. As with any construction project, it's a little messy right now at the beginning, but as that work continues to advance over the next 12 to 18 months, I think you'll be very pleased with that, and I think you'll be very pleased with the end product. So in closing, we're moving forward with the budget. First reading is next week. We've got a lot of exciting things on the horizon, even though we're taking a very conservative approach. We're continuing to move forward with reopening your city, and we appreciate your support, and we hope you have a great weekend. Jeff, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Chris. We now have a special speaker, Dr. Daniel Lewis, family medicine doctor with Ballot Health. Dr. Lewis has some firsthand knowledge on COVID-19. Dr. Lewis?
Good morning. Can you all see me okay? Can you all see and hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to come together, and I'll just briefly kind of review my experience that I had with COVID-19, and then, well, if you guys have questions of issues, not 100% clear, you know, the details you want, but in general, in my role as Chief Medical Officer for the Greenville facilities for Ballot Health, I've been prepared in helping us as a system prepare for the COVID-19 epidemic, preparing for bed placement and development of beds in Greenville Community Hospital, and also having conversations across the system. Unfortunately, in the midst of that, I had exposure while in the hospital to another confirmed case of COVID-19 and developed COVID-19 in late March of 2020, tested positive March 28th. I spent a few days at home managing symptoms, which primarily were fever at that time and some digestive symptoms. Did not have a lot of respiratory issues. But on the evening of April 1st, began to experience some significant shortness of breath and decreasing oxygen saturation. So at that point, I presented to Greenville Community Hospital to the emergency room and was admitted there overnight to the hospital. The next day was transferred to Johnson City Medical Center because of the development of a dedicated unit solely for COVID patients at that point that had opened that previous week. And so I was admitted there to the COVID unit at that point. And there began my journey where I stayed for nearly a month with them. Had a couple of 3 days there in the hospital where I managed with oxygen fairly well, but on the day of April 6th, began to experience a decreasing oxygen saturation, and to the point where it was recommended that I undergo intubation. I was intubated on a ventilator for approximately 10 days at that point, and then was removed from the ventilator on April 16th. Had approximately a week time where I still had some delirium and kind of confusion relative to the medicines I had that kept me sedated while I was on the ventilator. So I spent roughly 2.5 weeks in bed without really moving and doing a whole lot at that point. I began to make a recovery at that point, and the medicine wore off, thankfully, after approximately another week, and began to move forward to some rehab. Had a couple of setbacks at that point, complications related to the COVID, including a blood clot in my leg, which threw some pulmonary embolisms or blood clots to my lungs, as well as some irregular heartbeat that was noted, requiring some medication, treatment, and changes. So thankfully, no damage was noted to the heart at that point. Continued with some therapies, including physical therapy and speech therapy in the hospital there for a few days, until finally it was determined that I was eligible to go to a rehabilitation unit on May the 1st. And I was transferred to Encompass Health Kingsport in the city of Kingsport, where I received absolutely excellent care for the week that I was there. My care in Johnson City and Greenville also was exemplary, but certainly very complimentary of the Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital there in Kingsport. They did an amazing job where I received therapy for 3 hours daily at the time, along with medical care as needed, and thankfully progressed enough in the space of a week where I could return home on May the 9th. And so I was able to be home on May 9th and spend Mother's Day here with my family and with my wife, which is a huge blessing. Was again, just blessed by God throughout the entire experience with support and help from the communities and from my family. And despite the isolation that was there with visitation, was able to receive support from so many individuals, and just I'm thankful to God for healing and for the time that He provided me there. And with that, I'm willing certainly to go into more detail, but I didn't know what the will of this meeting was. And you guys, if you have questions or how we want to proceed, it's certainly fine from there. But again, I'm very thankful for all the support and care I received in the Tri-Cities and certainly in the Kingsport community as well. Again, I can't say enough good about Encompass Health and the care that they provided there. And that is quite a tool that you have in your community available for folks that need rehabilitation services such as myself.
Certainly, thank you, Dr. Lewis, for sharing your story there. And if anyone specifically has any questions for Dr. Lewis, you can certainly reach out some more, possibly get with Nora or Stephanie to send that information along to him. That was a very trying time, and again, we certainly appreciate you sharing that information. At this time, we're going to hear from Andrea Wilcox, the Executive Director of Cosby. Andrea?
Hi there. Thanks, Jeff. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Wilcox. I'm the Executive Director at Cosby and the Senior Business Counselor for the Tennessee Small Business Development Center. As you may know, we are an affiliate office of the Tennessee Small Business Development Center. I wanted to just remind everybody to visit our website. If you have not done that recently, please visit our website, visit www.cosby.org. We have installed a COVID-19 tab, navigation tab, with a lot of useful information for business owners. As Jeff was saying earlier, our goal is to assist small businesses wherever they are, whatever issues, challenges that they're experiencing, in particular related to COVID-19. So we have added a lot of resources for small businesses, for employers on our website. So please visit that page. There's 4 quick things that I want to cover today. First was that reminder to visit our page, www.cosby.org. There's a COVID-19 tab. Number 2, there are several reminders that I just wanted to make sure our business owners are aware of. Primarily the payroll protection program. That program, the deadline to apply is June 30th. So that's coming upon us very quickly. If you were not in the first or second round to get your PPP application in, there's still time. You have until June 30th. Most of the banks, local banks, are able to help you with that. If you are banking with an institution that does not do the PPP, please contact me. I'll be happy to put you in touch with the lender that does do the program. If you already have the PPP, the payroll protection plan, if you already have that loan program, I do encourage you to visit the Treasury website on a regular basis They have a lot of new information. For example, the application for forgiveness is already available there. And you can visit that website at home.treasury.gov. As far as the economic injury disaster loan, that application is currently closed, except for agriculture businesses. They can still apply for that program through the end of the year. We don't foresee them opening, SBA opening up the EIDL application again for other businesses at this time, just due to the enormous backlog that already exists there. As far as the refundable payroll tax credit, that is provided through December 31st of 2020. And also there is available a deferment of employer portion of the payroll taxes, and you can defer that until 2021, actually making those payments in 2021. So those are just some reminders, some deadlines that I wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of. We are wrapping up, we did wrap up yesterday our conversation that we're having with business owners, the Recover Together. We had a great event yesterday, and as you know, during the month of April, we were talking about the SBA loan programs, and we'll be starting another conversation for June. So please stay tuned and join us on Zoom on Thursdays at 4 p.m. To be part of that. The next training event that we have that is not COVID related is the Art of Selling when you're not a salesperson. And that event is actually going to take place on June the 25th at 11 a.m. Please join us and register for that. And finally, lastly, just want our business owners to be aware that there are numerous scams associated with COVID-19 that are out there. So we want you to be aware of those scams. And if you have a question about something that you've received in your inbox that might be a scam, you can certainly forward it to me. I'll be happy to take a look at it. You can also visit the ftc.gov website, and they do have a list of the ongoing scams where you can go verify and make sure you're not clicking or opening something that's dangerous or that is a scam. So with that, just take care. Thanks for the time this morning, Jeff, and have a great day, everyone.
Good morning. I'm Nicole Austin, Director of Membership Engagement here at your Kingsport Chamber of Commerce. And we have several new members to welcome to our group today. We have Bailey and Associates Real Estate and Appraisers. They specialize in residential appraisals, vacant land in Tennessee and Virginia, and they have 2 state certified appraisers that work for that company. Also, a big welcome to Blue Collar Barbershop. They bring traditional barbering with a working class attitude. They are located on Broad Street in Kingsport and are open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 to 6. Dream Vacations. Owner Jim Maddox has been in the travel industry for the past several years, and he recently purchased a franchise called Dream Vacations, which specializes in cruises around the world. He has also branched out to include land vacations and all-inclusive resorts, and he looks forward to being able to meet and serve everyone in our community in the coming months. Is Ott Gym. It's a locally owned 24/7 training gym established in 2010. Currently, Is Ott Gym has 3 locations, 1 in Kingsport and 2 in Piney Flat. They offer individual memberships as well as corporate accounts. Glow and Honey Tans is a mobile spray tanning business that provides celebrity treatment in the comfort of the client's home. Every tan is customized to fit the client's needs, wants, from custom colors to scent boosters and shimmer. They also specialize in skin conditions and tan corrections. Laurel Marina and Yacht Club. They are located in Bristol, Tennessee. They have boat slips and boat rentals. They offer deluxe pontoons, premium pontoons, and runabouts, and they're open Sunday through Thursday from 10 to 6 and on Friday and Saturday from 10 to 7. Mailworks Incorporated provides the Tri-Cities region with in-house design, photography, digital printing, large format printing, and full bindery services. Their 15,000 square foot facility incorporates Northeast Tennessee's largest automated direct mailing facility, design, print, and mail. Nash Promotional Products offers quality promotional products to advertise your brand and special event. Visit nashpromo.com for more info or call for a personalized quote. Smoothie King. Smoothie King blends smoothies with a purpose. Whether your purpose is wellness, to slim down, fitness, or just take a break, they have a smoothie for that purpose, which can be customized to suit your individual taste. Their mission is to inspire people to live a healthy and active lifestyle. Taylor Rose Pest Control is a pest control service located on Chase Street in Kingsport, and they are open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Tennessee Court Services provides quality and effective service of process and private investigations to clients in East Tennessee. Their services include process court filings, document retrieval, mobile notary, skip tracing, and private investigations. And finally, Wheelhouse Print and Design is a full-service company that can fulfill all of your design and printing needs. They opened their doors in January of this year, and they are committed to take your concept, no matter what it might be, from nothing to something. We also have several announcements coming up. One is Region Ahead. That's a regional group that we are part of. They are still raising money and awarding grants to small businesses through the local business recovery fund. So I encourage all of you to check out that website, regionahead.com, apply for one of those grants, and get on there for more information. We want to help you through this process in this difficult time. Next Wednesday, June the 3rd, from 12 to 3, we have partnered with the Tennessee Chamber of Commerce to bring you a Tennessee Chamber Healthy Business Certification webinar. This will be our third event that we have done with them. It's a 3-hour course. They're going to review CDC guidelines, OSHA guidelines, WHO guidelines for operating during a pandemic, and offer customized infectious disease control plans for your business. You can go to our website to register for that event as well. We also have 2 Kingsport COVID-19 recovery surveys up on our website. We want to hear from you and how the reopening process is going, what you're hearing from your customers. So please take a moment to complete those surveys and tell us how you're moving forward during the recovery period. Don't miss the final Visit Kingsport Live tonight. For the past several months, Visit Kingsport has been going live on their Facebook page every Friday night at 8 o'clock. And tonight is an evening with Bellafina Chocolate. It's a benefit concert featuring music by Tenny Rain. You can order chocolates for Bellafina and pick those up and enjoy this program from your living room. Of course, we want you to follow us on social media. Make sure you like our page. Let us know if you have updates to your chamber membership that you want us to be aware of. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nicole. We appreciate you. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, your Kingsport Chamber has made diligent efforts to contact our 800 members to assess their needs. One of the many jobs of the Kingsport Chamber is to help make sure that our business community is strong and thriving. Your Kingsport Chamber has offered assistance by delivering signs to businesses to let the community know that they are still open for business. We have also created a virtual tip jar and a hiring page on our website. Your Kingsport Chamber Cosby program has offered guidance to several businesses on the small business loan process and best practices during this time. Your Kingsport Chamber has partnered with McClaskey Excellence Institute, Dale Carnegie, and Summit Leadership Foundation to offer free webinars. We encourage everyone to visit kingsportchamber.org or our Facebook page to see our daily updated information. Your Kingsport Chamber is here to help you, our business community, to rebuild and become stronger than ever before. We would like to thank Spectrum Reach for sponsoring our very first virtual Fourth Friday. We appreciate all of you attending, and we hope you to stay safe and rebuild together. Thanks so very much.
Is that the end?
That's the end. Thank you, Andrea. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.